Hey everybody, I'm Sebastian Rodriguez, host of Ninth Island Connection.
And I'm Christine Rodriguez, part of Ninth Island Connection.
You might be wondering why we're doing a video about quarantine life in Hawaii. If you don't know, we actually live in Honolulu, although we do a lifestyle show about the Ninth Island that airs 3 times per week in Las Vegas on Channel 14, Your View. You can look below for show times. And it also airs twice per week here in Hawaii, Wednesday at 7 p.m. on K5 and Sundays at 2 p.m. on KGMB. Now, with that being said, for those of you that are curious about life in Hawaii, we actually have a recent update that just went into effect today.
So maybe some of you have seen our previous videos. We talked about our own experience in the Hawaii travel quarantine, which has been going on since the beginning of the pandemic. And we shared a video last week when we got the exciting news that finally there was some end in hope for to not be stuck in travel quarantine when you visit the state of Hawaii. So if you haven't checked that video out, please do.
Lots of great information there, and we're really excited about it because, as I mentioned earlier, we travel back and forth to Vegas quite frequently because we do a lifestyle show that airs in both Vegas and Hawaii, so we have to go back and forth for content. So this news was especially exciting when we learned about the pre-travel testing that'll go into effect on October 15th. So,
which we will be experiencing when we go back there at the end of October, and we'll be sharing our experience it'll be our first COVID test and the first of our pre-travel testing experience. One new thing we did learn today was that United is actually, we haven't heard it from that they're partnering with the state of Hawaii, but we heard that United Airlines is offering from their San Francisco to Hawaii route, they are offering pre-travel testing right at the airport, where they say they can get you your results in 15 minutes and get your paperwork, and you can take that on the plane with you to Hawaii as long as you have a negative test. And that apparently runs about $250,
right.
Which is a little pricey, but tickets have gone down. They also are offering a mail-in option where you have to have it delivered to them 72 hours prior to your flight, and then they'll have those results for you. And that one's a little bit less expensive. I want to say, I think it was $80 for that one, but then you have to do the overnight shipping. So it probably is about the same as the CVS testing or Kaiser testing costs that we reported in our other video. But today, the video that we'd like to, the information we want to share today is some exciting news that we got yesterday that has just gone into effect today, and Sebastian's actually going to go through that with you, and we'll post up a nice little visual here so you can kind of see what we're talking about as we're talking about it.
Yeah, so this one is a little bit tricky. So we have been in different phases of quarantine and different orders by the state of Hawaii, as well as the city and county of Honolulu, which is where we live on the island of Oahu. So we ended a 28-day stay-at-home, work-from-home order. It ended at midnight last night, 12:01 a.m. today, Thursday. So it's exciting. So one of the things for me is having a small business and running a marketing agency. I was actually able to be out and see clients today and meet with them in person and talk about their business and different strategies for Q4. Which you can always do with Zoom, but you know what, you can never replace the in-person contact. So that was refreshing to be able to get out and meet with them. So how does this affect potential visitors to the state of Hawaii today? So again, the pre-travel testing will go into effect on October 15th, but if you happen to be coming now, before that takes place and you plan on quarantining for 14 days, or you have some sort of an exception that allows you to bypass, this is what's open and what's happening on the island of Oahu. So social gatherings of up to 5 people who can be unrelated can occur at parks and beaches and other outdoor spaces where prior to today, if you were to go to the beach or a park, it was solo activities only. So that meant one person at a time could be at a beach or at a park, exercising, reading, having a solo picnic, meditating, whatever it may be. So Carlos is back there. Always has to be in the picture. So it's exciting that up to 5 people can now gather in these public places.
We're very excited. We haven't been able to go to the beach because we were in our travel quarantine, and then when we were out of it was solo activities. So
Right.
we're very happy that we're going to be able to get in some beach time together.
Yeah. And even after all these years of being married and together and working together, we actually still enjoy each other's company. So
Most of the time.
whatever. You know you love me. So retailers and essential businesses, including big box stores, are now going to operate at 50%. So now this is a little bit tricky because prior to today's order, non-essential businesses like retailers that just focused on, say, furniture. If you were a furniture store up until today, you could not be open because you were deemed non-essential, whereas your Targets and Walmarts and Costco's of the world were deemed essential. We're not going to get into the local politics behind that, but whatever the case is, as of today, all retail, regardless of size, are at 50%. So can be open at 50% capacity. So those, the Walmarts and the Costco's, the Targets of the world here in Hawaii, have to actually scale back to only 50% capacity, where before that wasn't the case. They had their own restrictions in place. So
Which it'll be interesting because every time we've gone out to the grocery store or to Target, it's been pretty busy. So I don't know what 50% will look like.
yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see. But you know what? That's great news for the local small businesses that have been forced to stay closed this entire time. It's really great to see that they're actually getting some sort of reprieve during this time that we're already all struggling. Spiritual services up to 50% capacity. Restaurants, this is another tricky one. So restaurants can operate up to 50% capacity with no more than 5 people from the same household at a table. So we're not sure what this is going to mean for tourists that are coming in and traveling with friends or other couples. So if you're a couple and you're traveling with friends that are a couple, staying in the same hotel room, you may not be able to sit together at the same restaurant, even though there's only 4 of you, so you would meet the under 5 criteria. But the way that the order reads is that you must be from the same household. So you may want to check with the state for clarification, being that you would be potentially staying in the same hotel room and traveling together. So there's a little bit of a confusion there, but this is a moving target. This is changing every single day seemingly. So check with the state when you're looking at traveling. Even call the hotel that you're looking at staying at, and see what the most up-to-date information that they have is regarding that particular issue.
And if you're a family of 6, I guess you draw straws of who gets to stay home and doesn't get to go out to eat. So,
yeah. But that's today. Again, that's today, and it may change by the time you're traveling. Museums, attractions can reopen. So again, if you're coming here on a family vacation, you can go to a museum. They're operating at 50% capacity. And one of the things about the state of Hawaii is that Hawaii is rich in history. There is so much history here in the state. The museums are amazing. The botanical gardens are absolutely beautiful. It's everything that you would imagine when you're visiting the state of Hawaii. So if that's not on your list yet, make it something that you do when you're here in Hawaii. Bowling alleys can operate at 50% capacity. So if you're coming to the state of Hawaii and want to do some bowling, you could go ahead and do that.
Because that's what Hawaii is known for, their bowling alleys.
Hair salons, barbershops, nail salons can open with restrictions. Now, there's going to be restrictions per entity. So if your salon, your restrictions may be different than a nail salon. So if you're looking at coming to Hawaii and having a spa day, and you have a spa in mind, or you're looking at getting your hair done, it's best to contact that specific business because they're most likely going to be by reservation only anyway, and check their restrictions and let them tell you exactly how they're operating.
And we're very happy to hear that hair salons and barbershops are going to be open because we've been having to look at this,
dealing with this thing
for several weeks now. So
yeah, long overdue.
Yeah.
actually pulled out a leaf from the tree in the yard. I didn't even know it was in there, so that tells you it's time for a haircut. Now, businesses still closed under this are bars, nightclubs, short-term rentals, so like your Airbnbs, helicopter tours, those are still open. Now, when it comes to bars and nightclubs, those are not expected to be open until tier 4. And you'll see the graph right there on the screen. Tier 4 is not going to happen until around mid-December is when we will enter tier 4. So again, if you're coming to the state, you're staying at a resort that has bar, restaurant type facilities, which most do. I'm not 100% on if that means just the bar in that restaurant bar thing will be closed, but the restaurant will still serve, because you can still serve alcohol. You can still consume alcohol at restaurants. But
up until 10 p.m.
Up until 10 p.m., yes. So again, it's best to check with the specific resort that you're staying at and asking them what those amenities look like on their property. But as far as like Christine and I going to our favorite karaoke bar, 9th Avenue Rock House, we miss you. They cannot open because they are classified as a bar, although they do serve food. So that can be a little tricky, and it's really establishment by establishment depending on the type of liquor license that they have.
Yeah, and with the tiers, each tier of the 4 is at least 4-week process.
Yeah.
And that's where they're going to be, if things are smooth, our numbers are going down here, then they're going to be willing to move into the next tier. If the numbers start spiking, or there's different clusters that are leading to public places that have been open, they may kind of pull back the reins and change this time frame. So that's important to stay up to date if you're planning a trip here to Hawaii.
So main takeaways, do your research. The information is changing daily. Good things are that businesses are starting to open, beaches and parks, you can go up to 5 people. Restaurants are doing dine-in, which is great, but again, it's only folks from the same home that can dine at a particular table together. So if you're planning on coming during this time, do your research, and we'll let you know in the next update. So this should last until about the 3rd week of October, because every tier is 4 weeks. But prior to that, we will have an update on the pre-travel quarantine testing that's supposed to go into effect on October 15th. And we did do a video specific to that particular program that's right here on our channel somewhere. So be sure to subscribe, like, leave your comments. I'm sure you're gonna have questions, as we still do, because it's changing every single day. Right, ask your questions in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer those questions as soon as we see them. Thanks so much, and thank you for watching this video.
Thank you.